Welcome back to Lost for Words with Lori. It is Sunday. It is the 13th of February. You know all that means. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Lupercalia, the good old VD. So, what do we call that at the House of the Heathen's Haven this year? More like the Lonely Hearts Club. Because, yeah, I don't have a Valentine, not in real life anyway this year, which I guess is totally fine. So your heroine faces her first year solo on this holiday. Not like that's ever really been that big of a big deal. I mean, it is, but it's not. I mean, when you're in a relationship and, Valentine's Day becomes one of those days where you are supposed to go out and spend a shit ton of money on, stuff like flowers and candy and all that. And it's kind of funny how a lot of people always tell you that when you're in a relationship you're supposed to do those things throughout the whole rest of the year and not just on one specific day. Just like any other holiday, it's one of those things where capitalism is rules supreme, and those commercial businesses will take advantage of people's willingness to go spend money and pay top dollar for things that they wouldn't normally have to spend a lot of money on. But yeah, so tomorrow is the big Valentine's Day, and a lot of you will be celebrating with your sweeties and posting all of your validation pictures on the social interwebs. And I'm sure my Facebook memories will probably pop up a whole bunch of bittersweet stuff, and I'll be in full force crying in my coffee, so to speak. But I think this year is going to be a little different for me. It's going to be one of those things where I spend some time thinking about how I can love myself. And I don't mean in the biblical sense of all you perverts are thinking about, but I'm thinking about self-care, and I'm thinking about how I need to take care of me. And that's really kind of what I've been trying to do, is figuring out what my life looks like and what I'm going to be doing for me now. As a lot of you know, I just came back from a pretty amazing road trip from New Jersey with two of my best friends, two people who've spent quite a bit of time kind of looking after me, I think, really since Toby died. When you talk about people who, haven't been treated very well their whole lives, Toby was no exception to that. Toby hadn't been treated very well his whole life and had really no reason to trust anybody or have any reason to fall in love again. And us finding each other wasn't really a coincidence, but he was truly my soulmate. And part of that love that we had had a lot to do with music, and us going and traveling and going and seeing our favorite bands and doing that thing. And I got to take two of my friends on a road trip and take them to see their favorite band. And one of the things that Toby and I loved to do was travel and go see our bands and celebrate with the music that we loved. And it was something that we really enjoyed. And this last weekend was really healing for me. I can't even say it was weekend. It's the weekend. It's Sunday, but we went on Thursday. But the adventure and the journey was really part of my self-care and part of what I love to do. Music makes me feel good. It makes me feel whole, because music touches me in my soul. It makes me feel all of the emotions and all the things that I need. And so to be able to go and share that experience with people who also understand that and get meaning behind the lyrics in their music and be able to share that with them in pretty much in a way that it needs to be experienced. And that was kind of my way of thanking them for being true and loyal to me through all of this. Was really kind of a healing experience for me, and I really needed that. And not just for, them, but also for me. Because I'm still learning, and the grieving process is real. And I know that Valentine's Day is going to be really hard, just not having, my soulmate here to share it with me. And I think that's difficult for a lot of people. There are some people who never find that kind of love. And it's unfortunate, but, people always go, oh, there's somebody out there for everyone. And do I believe that? Yeah. And I think from fundamentally, from the bottom of my heart, I do believe that there's usually somebody for everyone, but I also don't believe that, true love exists without a lot of hard work. I think Toby and I learned that too. I mean, you can still find your soulmate or your twin flame in life, but even after that honeymoon period is over, you still have to learn to talk to each other. You still have to learn to communicate. You still have to work on the real tough things and be able to figure out how to compromise and how to talk about the things that need to be talked about. And a lot of those conversations aren't easy. And at the end of the day, you have to be able to tell people how to treat you. You have to tell your partner and your friends and everybody around you what you need and demand that those things happen. And in my first world now, part of being able to love who I am is being able to accept that I'm important too, and I have things that I need in my first world. And I've spent a lot of time not knowing what those things were. And before Toby died, we were trying to figure out what those things were. And I'm still trying to figure those things out. It's just going to be a lot different now. So I know that music has always been important to me. It was important to us, and it's never going to stop being important to me. And it's kind of crazy that this road trip and this adventure that I took with my friends for them has kind of lit that fire for me to get back into my music. And I'm not sure what that looks like for me as far as, Metal Messiah Radio and being a DJ. 2 weeks ago, or, I went and did a drive-by, and I was terrified to do it because it's different not being there with your partner, with the person that you did it with for 4 years, and you depended on that, and it was great. We had such a great chemistry, and we did that so well together. But it felt good to be able to play the music that I love and to have the friendship and the camaraderie with my friends in the chat room and be back on that platform, which I really loved. And I'll tell you, after I did it, everybody really wanted me to come back, and it felt really good to be wanted and needed in that capacity again. But am I ready to do it full time? Hell no. It's a lot of work. It does make me feel good, though. And so my thought process was to try and do another couple of drive-bys and see how that feels and how that commitment works in my first world as far as my job and my friends and what else, I have going on. But after the road trip this week, I feel like there are other shows coming, and as long as, I stay healthy, and I still feel okay mentally, I have no reason to not go see a few more shows. And as long as I can stay safe in that capacity, I think I will. And, doors are opening there too. I have friends that, do shows in other states and other cities that, have expressed an interest in having me come and spend some time with them as well. And, I have a friend coming up to visit for a show that's here locally in June. Somebody that I'm very close to, a good friend, a brother from another mother, who's going to visit and be like old times. And again, it all comes full circle. And for me, that is truly part of my journey of healing and being able to come to terms with the things that, I'm having because of circumstance to deal with, and being able to set goals, new goals, realistic expectations, and in that process, trying to figure out what it is that I need and what it is that makes me happy. So it's been an eye-opening experience, but one that was very much needed and very necessary. So I'm quite excited about it, and I think that as we all kind of start looking at what's going on around us and how that translates about love and self-care and, taking care of our hearts, whether we are with someone or not. And it doesn't even have to be in relationships, romantic relationships. It could be just our friendships. I know that I spend a lot of time with the people I'm closest to having very in-depth conversations about people growing, changing, and evolving and learning, and how it's frustrating or how hard it is for people to watch other people learning and growing and evolving. And it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not instantaneous. We all have to take our time and process and sort the things that we're working on and we're dealing with. And it is about patience, and it is very frustrating. And you have to feel a lot of those emotions before you can digest everything and move on to that next step. And some parts of your journey are like gridlock traffic, and it takes a little bit longer to get to the next exit, and then figure out what lesson is at the rest stop before you can get back on the highway. I guess when we're talking about road trips, it's kind of the best analogy in the way I can put it, and then you get to that next destination, and then you hit that goal. And I know I'm watching a lot of my friends and a lot of these new friends and a lot of these new acquaintances make a lot of realizations about what's going on in their world and where they need to be. And I think when you get to that point where you realize that you're unhappy, or there's something missing, or there's a hole or a gap, or something kind of holding you back or making you feel like, I don't know, uneasy or sad, or something isn't, I don't know, making you feel the extreme joy or happiness that you know that there's the potential to have, it does make you kind of step back and kind of reevaluate what's important and what you need. And everybody has to do that on their own time. And unfortunately, in my world, it took a pretty huge blow of circumstance to lose Toby, to come back to, now I have to really just focus on me alone. Like I said, Toby and I were doing it together and alone, and it was wonderful to be able to share that experience with someone else, but now I have to do it alone, and that's my new life now. So at the end of the day, it's really about, wash, rinse, and repeat, finding those moments of joy and taking it one step at a time, one day at a time, and trying to figure out what it is that serves just me. And I don't really know what that's going to look like. I know that tomorrow isn't going to be a day of slamming everybody who's in a relationship, because if you're happy and you're with that special person, then I'm proud of you. If you can make that work and you can communicate and be spending every day with your person, then I'm happy for you. I'm not bitter and angry because I'm alone. It's nobody's fault, and everybody doesn't need to be kicked down because of that. And I don't need to be with somebody to validate who I am. And I'm grateful that I do have people around me that do care about me, regardless of that relationship status that everybody seems to, and I say everybody loosely, but that people seem to think is so important. And I don't need sympathy. I don't need people to be like, oh, boo-hoo, feel sorry for Lori because she's alone on Valentine's Day. It's never been that way for me. I got my bird. I got my coffee. I got my friends. I'm alive, and I'm grateful. And I'm humble every day for the things that I do have. And at the end of the day, I had some of the best memories and the best experiences with the love of my life that nobody will ever be able to take away from me. And I think this journey and this adventure that I took with my two friends reminded me of that. It reminded me of all of the wonderful things that I got to share with my person, and that, that was part of loving somebody and something so deeply that you could find things to share that really just filled your soul. And I would encourage everybody to continue to do that in your first world, is find those things that light that fire under your ass to keep you going, no matter what, that encourage you to embrace those journey to make those lessons to make you happy. But that's about all I got to say today, guys. I love you all. I hope you have a great week. I hope you have a great Valentine's if you're with that person. And if not, keep looking for those moments of joy. Love yourself. Remember, be good humans and wash your fucking hands. And we'll see you soon. Bye.